Okay, it says we're live now. That's a good sign. Welcome to the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast, episode 283. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Chad Wallace from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for all things firearms related. In this show, we will be discussing a Velocity PCC review, some items with prices ranging from something Tony can afford to something Shawn Herrin can afford. Uh, that's good to know. Tonight on the podcast, of course, we have Tony, Zane, and Rob as per usual. And we are also trying out a new way of recording and posting, going live on YouTube. So if you're watching and it has problems, I'd like to know, but the podcast itself should still be acceptable. So if you listen on just audio, you should be good. So what'd you guys do in firearms? Anybody? I guess nobody wants to talk.
I'll go first since I'm the only one that's not muted, I guess. I actually didn't do a whole heck of a lot. I got some work issues, and I've been occupied most of my day restoring my phone because it decided to do a manual update, then lost its mind and deleted itself and went to a factory reset. So I'm a little frustrated right now.
Yeah, I would be too.
Yeah, I hate
I
it.
guess since I'm talking,
I hate Motorola.
Yeah, I guess since I'm talking, I'll say that I pretty much didn't do anything really. I did, get some reviews done, and I did something, but I don't remember what it was. So that means I probably didn't do anything, at least interesting. So that leaves Zane and
stuff.
Tony. Zane did stuff.
I did stuff.
I know. I saw
Yeah.
pictures of stuff.
Yeah, I took a pistol mechanics course from Reston Training Group, Jared Reston's company. It was a very interesting course. The majority of it was shot at 25 yards on B8 bulls, which is not really fun to do. If you've never shot at 25 yards on a B8 bullseye, it'll really hurt your feelings. And doing it 30 times over the course of 9 hours will really hurt your feelings. However, at one point I did shoot an 81 support hand only. So I don't know how I pulled that off, but I did. I was pretty proud of that. There's a good class. Safari Land showed up and gave us a bunch of free stuff and bought us lunch. So that was cool. So appreciate you, Safari Land. But yeah, it was a good time. Got to hang out with some cool people and, had a good time.
Awesome.
That's cool. Yeah, dude, shooting at 25 yards is no fun for most people, but seeing as my range has a 15-yard minimum, I pretty much shoot 15 to 25 yards all the time with everything. I mean, as in when it comes to a handgun. So my bugaboo was when I took classes shooting closer than 15 yards because you got to get your speed up then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There was a few iterations we shot up at 7 while we worked on cadence, but it was a low round count course. 350 rounds was the round count for a 1-day course. That's not very high at all.
No.
300 of those rounds were shot from the 25, and it's just doing different things.
But here's the thing:
it forces you to do everything correctly, whether we're doing draw fire ones, strong hand only, weak, under time, not under time. And you have to concentrate, and it really, it's different than almost any other class I've ever done. But it was awesome. It was good. Got some good feedback from it.
What I found is when you start getting the crazy high round count classes for a 1-day class, when you're up in like 1,000 rounds for a 1-day class, dude, it's a lot of shooting just to make noise. Or it's one of those bragging points where they say, oh, ours is 1,000-round class. Like somehow they pack more information in, and it's not really true. And
what was awesome about this class was you were accountable for every single round. There was not a single round that went downstage or downrange that was not scored. Like, you were accountable for every single shot you fired in this class. And you literally wrote your score after a lot of walking too, because 25 yards there and back 30 times, that's a lot of walking.
That's cardio. Nobody told me
Yeah,
that
got some
cardio was going to be
cardio
involved.
in that July, South Florida heat, actually North Florida. But it was a really good course. I broke my front sight on my Glock 19.
I saw that.
Iron sights. Iron sights.
Never go down.
Yo.
No,
Hey,
they don't.
Stuff breaks.
Internet says so.
I guess they quit being poor.
I jinxed you. I mean, it's got to be my fault, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
But lesson learned: always take a backup.
Oh yeah, I was just like, hey, I gotta run and get a different gun, and
Yep.
So, whatever.
I did. I've been taking it. I'm stuck at home. My wife won't let me leave, other than to go to the doctors. So I have not gone to the range, but I have taken advantage of some of the sales to buy more gear and more stuff. So that's what I've been doing, gun related. I bought gun parts and dads and dry fired and moved my guns from one side of the room to the other. That's it.
That's
Nice.
that's all your wife would let you.
Dude, truthfully, I mean, I got pneumonia, got walking pneumonia. It's still healing, but it takes a lot out of me just to go from one side of the house to the other, or walk downstairs, put on my shoes, and then walk out to the car. And it sounds like I've sprinted down the block. Like my breathing is that bad right now.
You need to take care of yourself. So maybe she's doing the right thing.
She is. I mean, and it really sucks because you don't feel like I'm sitting here, I'm on the podcast, everything feels good, right? I go to do something, all of a sudden I'm winded and I'm like, oh my God, what happened? It's like, yeah, you went and took laundry downstairs.
Yeah, you walked 5 feet. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm forcing myself to take it easy. So a lot of stuff online I'm working on right now. And making phone calls. So I'm trying to do 2A4E work while I'm out of work.
Yeah. Well, you take care of yourself, and at least you're here. And hell, you did the podcast from the hospital bed. I mean,
we don't have quitters on this podcast, bro.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
That's right. So we'll get into the announcements. Our bandwidth sponsor is Patriot Patch Co. You can go check out their new patches for pre-order, which I didn't see any, but you can join the patch of the month. And of course, July exclusive is Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death patch, plus, the sticker and the card and everything else. I do not know what August patch is, but I'm sure it'll be cool. You can check out gunstreamer.com for firearms video content. And if you're shopping Amazon, of course, you can use the firearmsradio.tv/Amazon affiliate link, especially today and still till midnight if you're listening live, because it's Prime Day or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that. And also
give more money to billionaires.
I think you're supposed to boycott Prime Day. I don't know why, but I saw it on the internet. So
I don't buy hardly anything from Amazon anyway, so I'm not going to start now.
But you know what?
Amazon,
I don't boycott stuff. I don't do that.
Optimus Prime died so we could have this day. Go out and celebrate.
Yeah, okay. That I will go with that. Also, go to our Facebook page and enter to win the CGS Cube comp. Look for the picture of it, and you'll find which one it says to do stuff. So go sign up to win that.
Is it Facebook or Instagram?
It's Instagram.
Instagram. One of the grams.
Okay, if I said it, it's Instagram. See, I don't even know what's going on. And now it's time for Rob to do what he is an expert at.
Oh, I thank you, Chad. You're too kind. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual co-hosts and do not reflect the official policy or position of the Firearms Radio Network and or their employers. This is not legal advice, nor should it be considered as such. Was that legal advice saying this is not legal advice?
No.
I hope not. Viewer discretion is advised. This is especially true on live shows.
Yeah.
And Chad, I hope your new recording way is actually recording, because it would be sucky to go through the next segments and find out we didn't record anything.
Well, even if the video's not working, My recorder shows every time somebody talks, it shows weird little
Cool.
funky waves.
So, and now
So
Chad
we'll-
is going to enlighten us on a review of a Velocity pistol caliber carbine trigger.
Yes, I am.
And it's just a trigger, right? Not the PCC, right?
Right, correct. It is. They
Cool.
make a specific PCC trigger. Velocity Triggers does. It is part of their MPC line, which stands for Marksman Performance Choice, which they have regular rifle triggers in. But as you listen, you'll understand why they created, excuse me, a PCC trigger. I'm a fan of their other triggers, which, is nice. They did send me a regular MPC, so you can go back and look at that review. And now we're on to the PCC. It has the same features as the MPC line, which means, the most noticeable, it's got a 3/8 inch wide shoe, which is where your finger actually touches the trigger part. Plus, it is available in a wide assortment of shapes and colors. This time, I actually asked for a green one. I don't know why, just because. With the flat, and it's grooved with a finger stop at the bottom. They also make curved radius, meaning it's curved on the front face. Not You can get curved triggers also with this, but you can get a bunch of different styles. And they can be swapped out. So you can just buy just the shoe assembly and swap it out. I actually have now 3 of their triggers, and for some reason I have 4 shoes. So if that tells you anything, they gave me a curved one at SHOT Show last year. So that was because I wanted to try one out, and they just gave it to me. So that's cool. The shoe itself attaches with an Allen screw. They supply the Allen wrenches, all that stuff. But a big advantage to the way they mount this is that you can pivot the shoe also. So if you have a shorter finger, because this does make the trigger reach longer, or a few other things, you can pivot the trigger so that your finger will feel flat, like, gives you a better feel. It's more precise, but it's kind of nice. I have one. It's rotated a tiny bit. It's on a rifle, and I did that because I mainly shoot it right-handed. You can still use it left-handed, but it makes the trigger feel a little weird because you're kind of on the edge of it. And since PCCs function differently than standard ARs, because most of them are straight blowback, they needed to design the trigger differently. So if you look at the pictures in the review on the Firearms Insider, the hammer has a definite curve shape to it, and it has more material on it. There is one of their standard triggers for comparison in the pictures. And some standard AR triggers don't always work in PCCs. The bolt has so much mass that it can cause the trigger to bounce off disconnectors and such, and cause double fires. And yes, I know from personal experience, that doesn't happen with the PCC trigger. So and no matter when I ran it, didn't matter ammo types, anything. One pull of the trigger, one shot, just like you're supposed to. That was a plus. I like the MPC's trigger pull. The PCC is no exception. They only make the PCC in a 4-pound pull weight, and it is non-adjustable. When I measured the one they sent me, it was an average of 4 pounds. Pretty consistently. Sometimes a hair over, sometimes a hair less, but it really did average 4 pounds. It has their typical zero creep, smooth break. It's pretty crisp. It's got a positive reset, which is nice on a PCC if you're shooting it in competition or something, or a rifle for that matter. And there's very little over travel. There is a little bit of over travel, but it's not really enough to make too much difference. Some people might say, "Oh, it's terrible," but it's very little. Uh, Another reason the trigger pull feels so good on these is they nickel Teflon coat the internal parts. Uh, the nickel Teflon provides resistance to wear, corrosion, and friction. So that makes it a better trigger pull. And as before, the trigger pull is excellent. The trigger will also work with standard ARs. So if you have like one lower and you switch uppers and stuff like that, the trigger will still work. That's kind of a nice plus. As an added bonus, Velocity also threw in one of their larger trigger guards in green also. It's a nice touch. And then they have this, what they call a Wicked Extended Magazine release. And basically, it looks kind of like the Punisher skull for your magazine release. Because this is on a pistol caliber carbine and not on one that uses a standard magazine release, I put it on a different rifle. But it's kind of cool. You get the idea. There is a little picture of it in the article. Also, I did use the PCC trigger in a standard AR lower, meaning it's not a 9mm or 45 or 40 or whatever. And it runs a Stern Defense Glock mag adapter. I also used this trigger with the Endo mag, which is kind of a different thing. And either system worked great with this trigger. So 0 failures to fire, 0 double fires. Of course, the magazines worked fine. So I didn't have any failures to feed. That's a nice touch. I'd say it's a win-win for this trigger. Purposeful double and triple shots are very well controlled just because it is a fairly decent trigger. I can't shoot as fast as like Jerry Miglick, but I did dump some shots to see how they did, and they did fine. I was really impressed with the PCC trigger. It did everything I wanted it to, of course. So if you need a decent trigger for your PCC, go look at the Velocity triggers. They keep impressing me with their triggers, and I do have some other brands to compare them to, and I really like these. If you can try one out, I know a lot of times they have like some gun shops will have testers and stuff, so you can do that. We will get into the Firearms Insider 8 key points, claim to fame, 4-pound single stage pistol caliber carbine trigger. Target market, of course, is anybody who wants a better trigger for their PCC. Features and benefits: 4-pound pull, 3/8 trigger shoe with various shoes available. It is considered a drop-in cartridge style. It is nickel Teflon coated, and it is made in the USA. The other options available, you can get different shoes or colors, etc., etc. Price point, MSRP on this is $189.95. So it's not the cheapest trigger in the world, but it is nice. So if you need it now, you can go to Velocity Triggers, or you can contact our friend Shawn at Black Bag Resources, because he is a Velocity Triggers dealer, and I'm sure he could get you one. So our rating, the pros: crisp break. It's got a tactile reset. You can get the different trigger shoes. It's drop in, nickel Teflon coated. It is designed for PCCs, and it is made in the USA. The cons: only available in 4-pound pull weight. Okay. And it says Velocity Triggers right on the trigger. So if you're not into advertising, that could be a con. So I gave it a score of 8.5, which is great. If these guys on mute have any questions, I guess they can ask them while I go read all these chat messages that people are putting in here.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I don't see anything wrong with a 4-pound trigger weight. It's light enough to make shooting easier without pulling it off target at 4 pounds, especially for pistol caliber carbine. And it's heavy enough not to be a danger to yourself and others if you're going to use it in a defensive firearm. At least that's what I'm thinking. Anybody else with me on that 4-pound trigger weight?
Oh, it's not like it's a bad trigger. It's
Well, I mean,
one of my
you don't need to have a 1 pound trigger weight on this thing because you're not trying to do tack driving, right?
right, and that's the thing is one of my other triggers of theirs that I have is a 3-pound one, and I like the 3-pound one more, but it's not like it's not like the 4-pound is bad. It's just that's all you can get. I mean, you're not going to want to put a 1-pound trigger in one of these, like you said.
Oh, but one thing with that bolt bounce or whatever you call it, dude, that constitutes full auto. Now, I've only heard of one case of it happening that somebody got arrested over that, and it was because an ATF agent was
exactly. It can be dangerous, not just for that case, but and so having the proper trigger and the proper rifle is a big plus.
Especially when the downside is you could go to jail for having a full auto rifle just because a piece of equipment malfunctioned that you can change out.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Well, now that we're done with that and people are laughing about my chowder curtain, so I, to answer their questions in the chat, I still haven't figured out the green screen, and I really don't care because nobody else can show video. They just get to watch my ugly face. So, these other guys, they always have to turn theirs off. So,
you don't want to see my ugly face, Chad.
And yes, I did hang it up with. It is just clamped up to the thing with, a C clamps, or they're not C clamps, they're just quick clamps. So yes, it's just hanging up there, and yes, my wife complains about it, so I tell her tough, and here in a couple weeks she'll probably take it down again, and then it'll take me a month to put it up.
I love he's talking tough. So I told my wife,
that's
tough.
Exactly what.
Tough.
Yeah.
Deal with it, sweetie.
I'll tell her deal with it. Because she doesn't watch this.
I'm so glad I'm not married right now.
Well, at least my wife's not making me stay home.
Whatever.
I know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Celebrate how strong your pimp hand is there, Chad, because you can keep an ugly curtain on an ugly curtain.
That's right. I got an ugly patch wall, and now the curtain is ugly. I will go with that. And she knows I can't stand it. But since this is a gun podcast, we're going to get into our product discussion and spotlight. First up, thanks to our buddy Zane, he wanted this in there. Well, I don't know if he really wanted it, but I put it in here, is the SIG P365XL that everybody under the sun is talking about, so we might as well too. Price, SIG doesn't list MSRPs on their website, but basically it's like $580 is what it seems to be going for on the internet. You could probably find it less, but either way, it is basically a larger version of their 365. Okay, I'm done. You guys can go on. No, it is 9mm semi-auto. It's the same black polymer, stuff. Same stainless slide with the nitron finish. Striker fired. It's got a flat trigger. The barrel length is 3.7 inches. Overall length is 6.6. It is 1.1 inches wide, 4.8 inches tall, and it weighs 20.7 ounces. You can get it with 12 round capacity magazines. They also offer a 15 round capacity extended magazine. It looks like the 12 rounds, you can have a few different style floor plates depending on what you like. It is also, for Zane, pre-cut for an optic. It's got a little plate, which is nice because we think everybody should. It looks like the direct mounting of the new SIG Romeo Zero RMSC reflex sight, which I was going to put in the show notes, but I could not find any decent information on it yet. So eventually we'll put it in there. I wonder if it's cut for other SIG Romeo sites or other comparable mounting platform sites. But of course, it does not say. And I don't, I'm going to throw in my words of I'm not sure what exactly I would do with a pistol like this. It's large. I like the size of the regular 365. If I'm going to go to an XL, I personally am probably just going to carry something that holds 15 rounds because they're about the same size. They're just a little wider. And well, I'm fat, so I can carry stuff that's wider. I don't know what these other people say, but I know Tony was looking at compared to like a 320 and a few other pistols. So have at it.
Hey Chad.
Rob.
On their website it says optic ready slide compatible with Romeo Zero and RMS optics. So it looks like they designed it for RMSC. So it looks like they designed it for their platform.
Yeah, it's like a J point or something platform.
Which that makes sense that they design it for them. Which honestly, in most cases, I would say you should use an RMR cut. But being this is a thinner slide and would hang off the end.
That's right.
I don't really, or off the I guess off the sides. I don't really know which. I don't really have an opinion, I guess, on what cut you should use. So whatever.
Well, and like you said, it makes sense for them to cut it for their optic that they're coming
right.
out
They
with.
want to sell their optics. Now, their optics, in my opinion, all optics should use the same footprint to make life easier for the end user. But at the same time, they want to sell their own product. So whatever.
Well, and also what footprint's going to actually fit that? Because again, it's more narrow than other stuff.
The only like readily available other than this thing Sig's got coming out would be like the
Doctor,
the Doctor,
no,
J point or whatever they call it. It's got like 5 different names, but
yeah, it's the one from England, the compact one, the Shield compact, which is the RMSC.
It was called a J point for a while, and then it was called a Doctor something, and now it's
the Shield, and it's the Shield compact, which they said it's cut for. So
I've read a couple of people who have not only the 365 XL, but they also have that Shield Zero. The Romeo Zero optic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they were like, yeah, it's a good combo, but also understand you're dealing with people that got everything from SIG, so they might not be as objective as us. You know what I'm saying? At least I tell you I got something, and if it sucks, you'll just never hear me talk about it ever again.
Well, and I will say that it does look like that you lose the rear sight when you put the optic on.
Yeah, I have
if that matters to
you. I have very little faith that the optic's going to be any good. And that's just because most of the optics I've seen that come out are not.
Now, see, I have their Romeo 5. I have their Romeo 5, and I haven't broken it yet. I just bought a second one and had it delivered the other day. So I'm buying into their optics being decent. Also, the Zero has a rear sight built into it.
Okay.
So it has a rear iron sight built into it.
And I don't mean specifically SIG optics when I say, but I mean most of the optics that are coming out, like for pistols, I'm just not been impressed with very many of them. It's like
that's because you pay attention to Aaron and Sage Dynamics, where he just goes freaking Gorilla Monsoon on every optic, everything he gets.
He is good at breaking optics. I give him that. He's really good.
I mean, even I'm impressed by that, and I break I broke me. So,
but I like guns of this. Like when this 365 came out originally, like everyone was quick to jump on it and how awesome it is, and it's like voodoo magic. And I just don't like guns that small. I just don't have a desire to shoot them. I don't have a use for them. This size gun is much more interesting to me, and we kind of compared the size to the compact 320 and also with the Glock 48 and with the Glock 19. So and it kind of looks like it's pretty close in size to the Glock 48, right? And it's just a wee bit thinner than the P365 or the P320 compact model. So I like the idea of a single stack sized gun that I can still get my pinky on much better than I like the idea of a uber tiny gun that I can only get like 2 fingers on, and it's super thin and gonna beat up the backstrap of my hand. So, but at the same time, I'm not super impressed with new SIG products. Like every time they roll something new out, it seems like there's an issue with it. So I will absolutely not be an early adopter. If it, you know.
And that's where I'm at with you right there, man. I sorry, but SIG created this mess. You do not have a good track record for the first year of the gun coming out. So I wouldn't jump on it until next year on the 365 XL. Talking about the size comparison, let me go ahead and give you the width comparison just to let you know the difference between a P320X compact and this P365 XL. The overall width is 1.3 inches for the 320 and 1.1 inch for the 365 XL. So we're talking 33 millimeters versus 28 millimeters.
Yeah,
I'm just looking at it.
Less than a quarter of an inch.
And for comparison for the non-SIG guys, those are pretty much the exact same dimensions of a Glock 19 slide and a Glock 48 slide, respectively. So
there's not a huge difference. And like Chad said, if you're carrying some size on you, you can carry this gun on you. Now weight, because that's the older I get, the lighter I want my gun to be.
True that.
I'm just trying to find the weight, and of course I'm on SIG's website, and I know it said it was
20.7 ounces, and I'm sure that's unloaded.
Well, I hope so. but I can't find the weight on actual their website, and that's what I'm looking at for the P320. But once you load a 15 round magazine, or a 12 round magazine, I'm sure the difference again in weight is going to be minimal, like within 2 ounces of each other. So, hey man, listen, get it if you want to get it, but the P320 already has a track record, even the compact, and the 365 XL does not. That's what it comes down to me. And also I'm finding these 320 compacts on sale everywhere, even just trade in and use. Now, the gun's brand new. It can't be more than a couple of years old, and I'm finding these things like near $300, $320, $325.
And the other thing is, if you're already on the SIG train and if you already have a 320, you could literally get a grip module and have that shipped directly to your house, because that is not a firearm.
Yeah, and Tony, the weight of the 320 compact is 25.8 ounces.
And it's 22 on the other one?
It's 20. It's 5 ounces heavier, basically.
Ooh, significantly.
So 5 ounces, and then the weight of 2 or 3, rounds of ammo. Because the 360 compact, or the 320 compact is 15 rounds?
15 rounds. Right? Yes, 15 round gun.
Yeah, I think so.
And you can get them extendos.
Oh, you got to get the extendos.
So
I was looking at this because I've really been looking hard the last couple. I've told you guys, I don't know if I've said on the show, but the last couple of months I've really been taking a look at getting a Glock 48. Now, and when this came out, I was like, ooh, I want to take a look at this, because I'm not invested in the single stack Glock platform, right? Like when it comes to double stack guns, I got holsters and mags for days. I'm probably never changing. But on this, I'm not invested in a platform, so I can venture out to other things. And since it's very, very similarly sized, I was like, this was something I want to look at, get a couple extra bullets too. So But the problem is, still goes back to the elephant in the room. It doesn't have a track record, and SIG is not been very good at releasing stuff lately. So I
Yeah.
guess I'll wait and see.
And that's pretty much my advice on darn near every new gun out there is wait and see, man. You do not have, especially if you're using this as your self-defense firearm, you do not have to be the first one in line. This is not an iPhone. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, no. Couple of things can happen. You can end up with a Hudson H9, and that means you have a gun, but then they don't make the gun anymore. So now you can't even get support for your gun. Or you can end up with the first SIG P320s or 365s and have all kinds of problems and have to send them back and forth. And now you've lost your carry gun. So yeah, man, listen, buyer beware. And there is no reason to be the first one on your block to buy this for a self-defense firearm. Now, range gun, heck yeah, jump on it, man. Be that dude, because I want to shoot your gun, because I want to check this out.
I want to break it in Tony's case.
The other thing is with SIG just landing that big military contract, will they end up? I don't think they will because they have so much other stuff. But will they go the way of like Colt and HK and just kind of forget about the civilian market?
It makes you wonder. It really does.
Yeah, because SIG USA has not had
they're into so many of the things, into the optics and silencers, and so I doubt they'll go that route. But it's certainly a possibility. Colt and HK basically forgot about their civilian market for a while.
Understand something though, SIG USA has never had a military contract.
Right.
So hey, listen, they might not know how to handle that. I mean, they're not an FN. FN, got all the balls in the court. But when they're selling the rifles and they selling the FN sells the rifles and FN sells the belt feds, the pistols fell by the wayside a little bit. I mean, a lot of people forget that was not a priority with FN handguns.
Yeah.
No, not FN USA. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, since we're talking about something that resembles a machine gun, next up is the LWRCI now SMG pistol with an MSRP of $2,999. Yeah, this is Lauer Weaponry, whatever. They call it the SMG, but it is a pistol carbine, a PCC. Hey, it is in 45 ACP. Comes with an SB tactical brace. Of course, it weighs 5.9 pounds. It has a folding stock. It runs a short recoil delayed blowback operating system. It's aluminum steel construction. Imagine that. It has rail panels. It runs an ALG fire control group. Well, there's an extra $20. Ultralight combat grips. User configurable rail system. Reversible non-reciprocating charging handle, folding even. I like that. Full ambi lower receiver. Comes with an 8.5-inch cold hammer forward chromoly steel barrel. The hard coat anodized, nickel boron, and has Magpul M-Bus Pro sights. It runs UMP magazines, and it needs a Nielsen device booster to shoot suppressed. And let's see. Is there anything else I need? It comes with 225 round UMP mags. I think that's about all I need to know about it, but it looks cool. It's probably well made.
It looks a lot like a B&T. A lot like a B&T, I think.
Now I want to eat a BLT.
Not a BLT, a B&T. Brahma and whatever.
Yes, the difference.
It does. I like that it's using, a short recoil delayed blowback system, and it's all contained, so it has a folding stock. But what I don't know. It's one of those things. I saw it and I'm like, okay, is it really worth the price? I don't think
No.
so. But it's cool. It would be so much cooler if we could get rid of the NFA and still have them, or the 86 crime bill. But hey, that's just my opinion.
The B&T also has a folding stock, and it's $1,000 cheaper.
I know.
Who makes the
Now, it uses,
hey guys, who makes the UMP mags? Because I'm looking for them, and I
HK.
can't find how much are you.
HK.
Yeah, so I'm looking at
assuming it's
Magazine
a HK
Warehouse.
mag.
I'm assuming that too. So I went to Magazine Warehouse and I punch in UMP magazine, HK UMP mag, and I ain't getting it.
Huh?
So
Well, they're not cheap.
Yeah.
no, I know they're not going to be cheap, but I'm like, I'm not seeing them. So I definitely don't want to buy anything directly from HK because, as everyone knows, HK hates you.
If they're
Right,
going to be
they
in
hate
business in a few years.
I feel like this should definitely use Glock mags, because I feel like everything should use Glock mags, because I have a lot of Glock mags.
Well, and the thing is if they made it so that it used Glock mags, I think,
Wow.
they make high capacity
But
Glock 45 ACP mags.
Yeah, but let's also be honest that if you got $3,000 to drop on this, you can afford HK mags probably.
This is probably true.
I don't know.
I mean, this is one of the ones where
the
people are complaining about FN and FN magazines. It's like, shut up. This is like, I got you. One more, buddy.
Okay, my problem with
Chris uses Glock mags, and it's not cheap either. So whatever.
Right. Looks like they're $50 a piece about.
Okay, because you found them, because I couldn't. Here's my issue with the whole thing. All right, because I ran into these guys and I posted the video last week or earlier this week of me talking to LWRC at their booth at NRA.
Right.
And I checked it out. And dude, it is a fun gun. It's ambi. It is just fun to handle that gun. But then you walk right into that price tag. And I'm like, I don't know what flavor crack you smoking, but obviously it's the good stuff, because that is
it's the really good stuff.
Yeah, and it's LWRC, so you're paying for that. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with that, but I'm looking at it going, as cool as it is, I can spend half the money and get something almost as cool. And the only thing is that you're unique. You're a little different, but for the price difference, I'm not seeing it. But if you got $3,000 drop on something plus $50 magazines, again, I want to be your friend at the range. I want to shoot your gun. I want to videotape me shooting your gun. But am I going to be the dude that purchases this? No. Dude, the only two things you moved ahead of on my list of guns that I actually want to own is you pulled ahead of Taurus and Springfield. Outside of that, you've done nothing.
Well, and my whole thing again is like, if I've said it a couple times, but if I'm gonna go with an 8.5-inch barrel, I'm gonna use a rifled caliber. I wish they offered this in a 6-inch barrel, because then I can throw a can on it and still maintain how short it is. I don't know.
Well, because of the system they're using, like I said, you have to run suppressed. You have to use a Nielsen device or a suppressor with that, or a booster, whatever you want to call it. And it's like,
I don't think that's a huge deal. I mean,
it adds to the length of the suppressor.
Yeah, and it adds to the cost of the can, but yeah, it's definitely not for me. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm sure it's a fine gun, and I'm sure it runs just fine. I mean, I don't think you're going to have reliability issues or anything like that out of it. But it's just not for me, man.
Hey, man,
all I've seen,
it's going to work great in the next video game I use it in.
Now, the only thing I've seen, and I'm going to be honest, the only thing I've seen is one video online with a dude hunting hogs with it, and he has like prototype number 3. Like, I have not seen anyone else pulling triggers on this thing. It was one of those things they said it was going to come out years ago, and it finally dropped this year. And it hit the market, and I guess they're really proud of it with the price tag they put on it. But with everything else out there, why would I spend my money on this? Like, what makes you so special that I would drop almost $3,000 and $50 per mag on this particular product that has, again, no legacy? It has nothing
Because
except
it's
the name of the
cool.
company. And dude, what's
Hey, if that's-
Battle Arms Development? Are
Yeah.
they the ones with the tanker and the paratrooper model?
Yes, they are.
Much cooler. I'd spend my money there first.
I would too, because those are pretty cool. But hey, it's not for everybody. If you want one, a lot of people have money to spend on stuff and collect stuff. So hey, yeah, I'll be your friend. I'll shoot it.
Yep.
Yep. So since we pretty much threw that one only under the short bus, at least for the price, but hey, besides that, we love it. And next up is something that really doesn't pertain to hardly anybody on the show except maybe Rob and I.
I'm going to bed now.
Okay, so you just go to bed, and we'll just skip your section later.
Ew.
What we have next
Yeah, I'll
up
do your
is the
section.
modular driven technologies plus 2 AICS mag extensions, and they are $14.90.
Yeah.
Yeah, the price is fine. But they add 2 rounds to your Metal Accuracy International magazines. So if you have a 10 round now, it's a 12 round. Which you might not think that's a lot, but really, if you think about it, that's 20%. If you're into like PRS matches, I can see where this would be a plus. To give you an extra 2 rounds might make all the difference. Or if you're just shooting something where you want extra 2 rounds before you have to change magazines, it's not like they're super expensive. They make their own magazines at some polymer magazines, but this is something kind of cool. I thought people'd be interested in it besides Tony and Zane, but MDT makes good stuff. I have one of their chassis, a couple of their magazines. It's good stuff. If you're into that, you're into that. Anybody else like Rob is yawning?
Is this like a proprietary magazine, or is this like for a regular?
No, it's the
AR type deal.
It's the Accuracy International magazines that like
So,
your Ruger precision rifle uses, except you have the Magpul ones probably.
Yeah, I have Magpul ones on my RPR.
Well, Accuracy International makes metal ones, and these are for those metal magazines.
You realize for that price you could buy a full 10 round magazine or a full 20, a full magazine.
I know, but but nobody makes anything past 10 rounders for those that I know of. I'm sure they're out. There might be some out there, but hey, that's an Accuracy International mags. Those things, the metal ones, are expensive.
Yeah, again.
But hey, so
I get like 3 or 4
$14.
Magpul mags.
Yeah, that's what I use because they're cheap.
Yeah.
But it's out there if you want an extra 2 rounds and have some. I do have one of the metal magazines. Maybe I should buy one of these just to try it out. But there's that. I didn't really think people.
Well, the only thing is,
on the show.
Did you see that note they have where it says, when used with MDT 10 round magazines, a longer spring follower combination must be used, available separately from MDT website, as the existing spring is not long enough to provide sufficient force on the follower when the extender is installed.
That's not uncommon though.
But that's if you're
no, what I'm saying though is you're going to spend $14 on this extender, then you got to spend another, I don't know, whatever on a magazine and follower. Or spring
that's only if you're using their 10 round metal magazine.
So
not
like the thing with
Accuracy International one.
Like if you're just shooting, then yeah, just buy another magazine. But if you're running like matches where reloads are time and time is points, then this is worth it. It's the same thing with pistol mags. Like the extensions I like best for Glock mags cost more than a Glock mag.
Like a +4 or 5 or
Yeah, well, I like the Arredondo +6s.
okay.
And it costs $40, and you have to use a new spring. It does come with a spring. That's more than the mag cost. Is it worth it? I don't know. I like them, but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's the same thing with this. If you got a need for it, then it's worth it to you. But if you don't have a specific need for it, it's probably not worth it to you. Just buy another magazine.
Yeah, and that's probably the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yes.
agree with it. I agree with what they said. I watched a video from the company, and they were like, if you want to spend more time shooting and less time reloading, this increases your capacity by 20%. And I'm like, it's 2 rounds, dog.
I know.
Yeah.
2 rounds.
Yeah.
Which,
Bingo.
to be fair,
Okay.
in a match or when someone kicks your door in, those 2 rounds might be
That's
real.
true.
Those
When
might
I'm
be
working
2
my
really
when I'm
important
working my
rounds.
when I'm working my bolt action, when someone kicks my
Yeah,
door in,
that's fair. There's no really semi-autos that use these mags, huh? Yeah,
Okay. So
That's a good
for
point.
$18 you can get a PMag 308 for $18. For $18.95 you can get a 20 round, and for $21.80 you can get a 25 round, and that's Midway USA right now.
But
No,
can
no,
you,
those are the
No.
AR-10 PMags. Those are
Yeah,
not
yeah,
the
this is
Accuracy
this is
International.
Yeah,
accuracy
that's a different
international.
animal.
Well, what
Or
what's so different? It's what I'm saying is $14 for a 2-round mag extender versus buying a whole mag for about the same price.
Well, you got to
well,
buy a
yeah,
whole rifle to go with it.
Well, I've
That's
got the
different.
rifle.
no, because Magpul does make 10-round mags for
Yeah.
Accuracy
Oh,
International, and they're like
yeah.
$25.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know.
either way, I get what you're saying, Rob, about you can buy another mag for about the same
What
price.
Chad's trying to say is, Rob, quit being a cheap beep.
Yeah,
No, it's
you're
not
Hey,
even being a
listen,
cheap beat. And I
don't.
think Zane is right with the competition
Yeah.
thing, because competition, a reload is time. I don't care how fast people think it is. Firing 2
Yeah.
rounds is a lot quicker than dropping a mag, grabbing another mag, inserting in a rifle, and running either the charging handle or the bolt. Excuse me, the bolt.
Yes.
So yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
And to
Well,
be fair, I don't know anything in 308, so this has
it's
like
it's
literally.
also 6.5 Creedmoor. It's anything on the 308 platform.
I
Well,
don't own anything in a short action.
Right.
I own. I got 30-06 because I still think 308's a fad.
Yeah, that newfangled 308.
Well, Tony, didn't you have a part in helping design the 30-06?
Yes, I was there. I said, "Hey, go ask that old dude over there, Chad. He'd know."
Yeah. Well, hey, that's part of it, right?
Yeah. Go
Yeah,
ask Buffalo Bills riding coach Chad Wallace. He'd
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I hate horses. So, so I put this in there. We have listener feedback if we
Excuse
count
me.
it.
Hold on a second.
I'm
Hold on.
ignoring Tony.
Nope.
Okay, Tony.
Chad hates horses ever since those Trojans snuck inside of his. Ever since the
They stuck
Trojans.
that
Oh,
big old
that
wooden horse in.
Okay,
He thought it was a big old birthday
that was
gift, right?
good. That was good, Tony. Okay, and on to the Trojan horses. Listener feedback. It's not so much feedback as a question, and when I read it, you'll understand. It's more from a standpoint of somebody that doesn't know much, so we're going to explain it to him. And it's from Eli V. It says, and he even says, "I don't know much about shotguns, but with all the recent mag-fed ones, why not ones that will work with over, under, or side by sides?" And so, since this is a podcast, we're going to try to explain this without pictures. And luckily, you 3 people are here to help me. And
Yeah, we'll play
basically,
charades.
I'm not.
we will.
I'm not even sure I understand the question. Is he talking about a
I think-
mag-fed break-open shotgun?
Well, he's talking about mag-fed shotguns, and he's wondering why you can't get like an over-under or side-by-side.
Well, technically
With a
you
magazine.
can. There is a side-by-side magazine-fed shotgun. It's a tube-fed magazine shotgun. It's made by Keltec. but right,
But-
that has
No,
two
no,
barrels.
that's not the Caltech.
No.
That's the DP12.
I'm pretty
That's
sure
not a
it's
side
Caltech.
by side though.
It's
No,
got two
they make
barrels.
a
Oh.
side by side, 2 barrels, 2 tubes. Do I need to get
Yes.
out of my gun safe?
Yeah, who was it?
DP12, I believe, is what it's
That's right.
Oh,
called.
you know what? The Caltech does only have one barrel. You right?
Yes.
My bad. My
Okay.
bad.
And they
But
also make
either
another one
way-
that's what is it? It's the Caltech. The tubes are below. There's another one where the barrels are above, and that's like a
Right.
Armenian
But-
or Middle Eastern.
But besides oddballs like that, the real reason
No.
you can't do an over under side by side with magazine fed is because typically they're 2 shots and break open, like
Yeah.
Zane was saying. And so what happens is you release the lever and you kind of bend them apart, and then the 2 shells either pop out or you have to pull them out. But the 2 shotgun shells actually go in there, and then you close it back up and it cocks it if it doesn't have hammers. If it has hammers, you may have to cock them.
Yeah.
But with the magazine fed, what like you're thinking, either it's a tube fed or an actual magazine like a rifle uses, you're using it on a pump or a semi-auto style shotgun, which with the pump you're moving the action itself as opposed to breaking open the action. And the same with the semi-auto, it just you charge it once and that's the way. So and the one Rob is talking about that he owns is, I think it's a pump action, but it's still,
It is.
it's got 2 barrels side by side. So technically it's a side by side, but it's a complete different than your typical, okay, you go to the store and there's a side by side or an over under. So that's my explanation.
I think it's more base. I think it's this. Pump actions is pretty much the most common shotgun type. One of the downsides of most shotguns is capacity. And there's going to be that market there for somebody that wants to put a magazine in a pump action. I mean, they've been out for years. Now they're just more mainstream, but they've been out there for years. But when you come to side-by-sides and over and under, that's way more traditional buyers that do things like upland bird hunting or clay shooting or those kind of sports. And it's more tradition to use that. And I don't think they'd be the market there for anyone doing anything like that with that.
Oh,
I'm sure you could do it, but
Yeah.
I guess the question would be, instead of can we, it would be why. Like,
well,
what's
you got to
the
be
line
careful. Yeah,
from,
with those
Jurassic
over under
Park?
and those side by side, folks. Oh, you go to a skeet or trap just to go shoot it with a like a Benelli or any kind of non-trap shooting gun, and they'll be like, "What are you doing here? You little brat, go away! You are not worthy
Okay.
of."
You know what?
Mhm.
I got it. Here's what we need. So for any gun makers listening, here's what I want you to make me. Side-by-side 12 gauge with a third barrel underneath that is lever action 4570 tube mag fed. Get on it.
No.
With 3 triggers.
For some reason, I think somebody in Europe has made something like that.
Those are called
Well,
drillings. Those are
listen,
called drillings, and they have and they're built sort of kind of like that with 3 barrels. Usually, like sometimes they're even 3 different calibers.
Well,
and I think they're also called something else. But yeah, it's a really expensive European thing.
because I know somebody's
bottom barrel
built a
being-
break open 3-barrel shotgun where you load 3 rounds in there and it goes bang, bang,
Yeah.
bang.
Oh yeah. No, I've seen
Chiappa
that. I'm
did.
talking about.
Yeah.
I need the bottom barrel to be lever action and rifle.
Right, to be a lever
I
action
need
rifle.
this. I
Oh.
just
Listen, okay,
That sounds
let's
I
cool.
need
quit.
one of these.
Hold on, let's quit BSing because we all know you only gonna put reduced recoil rounds in it anyway.
Oh yeah. No,
Can
no,
we
I'm
make
gonna-
it a 10
I'm
gauge
gonna load it
too?
down. Put a lip saver on the back.
Make it like a 410.
No, because he wants a 4570 on the bottom, but he's gonna only load 45 long Colts in there.
I don't think you can do that.
I tell you what, though,
I don't think that
Combo
works that
action.
way.
Combo action loads.
Oh yeah.
if somebody could invent a break open shotgun with a 2 feet on it, it would be kind of a wonky idea, but it'd be something really interesting
I mean-
to try.
I'm sure it could be done. You know who? If anyone could do it, you know who would do it? Franklin Armory.
The person that made that double 1911.
Franklin
That
Armory.
too. I was gonna say Franklin.
It wouldn't have
Franklin Armory.
rifling in it then.
That's
Well,
the
it's a
point.
shotgun, so that's what
A
it's gonna have,
shotgun.
not right?
Yeah.
Or actually,
Yeah.
Black Aces could probably figure it out too, because they do some wonky stuff with shotguns.
Yeah.
They do.
Actually, Black Aces comes through.
Yeah.
Franklin Armory is going to tell you it's something totally different, and then give you a shotgun.
Or they're going to give you Nerf projectiles.
Yeah, here it's a shotgun, but it only works with this Nerf horseshoe shaped thing that we're going to put in it, and we haven't developed it yet, so just use regular shotgun shells.
Yeah.
What?
Okay.
It shoots a solid 10 MOA at 100 yards. So.
Hopefully,
Yeah. No,
we
Zane,
answered
don't
this
you mean
guy's
MOH,
question.
minute of house?
Yeah, because
Horse, house, whatever.
yeah. Hey, listen. I hope we answered your question, and if we didn't, it's Zane's fault.
Or just write us
Yeah,
in
I
and
like
tell us
that.
what you were really asking.
Yeah, either or. Okay, Tony.
All right, I'm going to make this short and sweet. I never make it short and sweet. I'm lying. August 22nd is the next Diversity shoot. Hopefully my wife lets me out of the house before then. It's going to be fun. It's going to be at Gun for Hire range in Woodland Park, New Jersey. Starts at 6 o'clock. You can buy tickets online. I'll post it up probably this week because, well, I have nothing else to do. We're going to introduce new people to firearms. We're going to have prizes. We're going to have food. We're going to have a 50 BMG on the 50-yard line that you can shoot if you want to. You just have to pay for the rounds because I'm not doing that. We're also going to have Second Amendment groups out there talking to you about the fight that's happening in New Jersey and how you can help. If you want to support what we do, you can go to Patreon and become a patron. And I'm working with Yankee Marshall, and hopefully, if everything works out, we're going to be picking one person that gets that. Hey, Yankee Marshall is actually going to choose one of our $20 and above patrons and give them a handgun. We just have to set everything up. So that's going to happen soon, and you can join our Patreon at 2A4E Podcast, which you can also listen to on Spotify, Spreaker, and a bunch of other podcast apps. You can buy our shirts at 1022clothing.us and get one of our shirts. You can get the rally shirt. It's the blue one. It's $10. You and your whole crew can get one. I don't get paid on this. And if you want to purchase something from Black Bag Resources and have it sent to us, go to blackbagresources.com, type in 2A4E after you make the purchase or after you get into the shopping cart. And that item will be delivered to our diversity shoots for us to give away or raffle off. And you can also donate to us at 2A4E. The second is for everyone diversity shoot on GoFundMe. So those are the ways you can help us out. And I already told you what we do. We introduce people to the Second Amendment and firearms, regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation, or background. Hey, how was that for short and sweet?
That's pretty short for you, Tony.
Hey, man, I was just trying to make it happen.
I must admit. Okay.
But you can join us at the end of this month for the Minuteman Challenge. We're using handguns, so you can bring your yeet cannon out to range 14. You can buy tickets at Black Bag Resources and participate in that. So hopefully you guys do that because it's a lot of fun. Okay, I'm done now.
You sure? Send
Yeah, I'm
questions, comments, or feedback to gungearreview@gmail.com. Remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review. Check out all the other great shows on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.tv. Be sure to visit the Firearms Insider so you can read some reviews. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Firearms Insider, and make sure and enter the Cube Comp giveaway. I will also be at TriggerCon in basically a week. So if you're there, say hi. You can find me on video to know what my ugly face looks like. And thank you for listening to the largest pound for pound podcast on the network. And we are out. Oh, and Felicia got fired.
Hey, if you see Chad at TriggerCon, he likes for strange men to hug him from the back.
Yep. Yeah,
Just don't even speak. Just
Right.
walk up to him, hug him from the back real tight, and maybe touch his face. He likes that too.
Great. I'm cutting that part out.
Bye, Felicia.
Just Chad, who the hell needs enemies?
Felicia
Yeah.
did.
Let's see.
Felicia gone. How do I stop this crazy thing, Joan?